Hi, everyone. Welcome to the House of Lou podcast. I'm your host, Veronica Theodoro. Joining me today on the pod is Derek McKay, the manager of the Garden Center at Frisella Nursery and host of the gardening blog, Derek Dino Garden Guy, where he offers gardening advice with the help of a dinosaur puppet named Talon. I wanted to talk to Derek after reading about a recent class he taught on gardening for fragrance at Frisella. It's a topic that ironically flies somewhat under the radar, but I think we would all enjoy learning more about. I can't wait to talk to Derek, but first, here's what's been going on in and around my house. This episode of House of Lou is sponsored by Pulitzer Arts Foundation. I just got back from a quick 4-day trip to Cancun with my son's high school class. It was a great reset. The weather was perfect, and honestly, one of the best parts was just getting to spend time with other parents and catching up with a few of the moms I hadn't seen since my son's years at Forsyth. It truly felt like a little full circle in the best way. And then I came home and immediately went into full-on closet organization mode. I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was the sunshine, but I was suddenly in a total spring cleaning mood. About halfway through, I had a bit of a reality check. I'm always telling myself I have nothing to wear, but the truth is I have so much stuff I can't even see what I own. And it really got me thinking about the example I'm setting for my kids when it comes to overconsumption. So I decided to set a challenge for myself. For the next 3 months, I'm not buying any clothes, no vintage, no resale. And so we're going to see how this goes. But I will say it feels really good to get organized and to actually see everything that I own. I'm hoping I fall back in love with many of the pieces in my closet and actually get to wear more of them. Speaking of home, in this week's newsletter, we shared a story about upholstering with mohair, which I've been curious about, but actually never really made the investment myself. I know it's incredibly durable and low maintenance. So if you're interested, I would think about it. As it turns out, Megan Heater, who's a St. Louis-based interior designer and a recent guest on the podcast, just launched her own line of mohair fabrics through her company, Atlinger. So definitely worth a look if you have a piece that you have been hoping to upholster. And one last little house update. I finally committed to a pair of planters I have been eyeing for months. They're beautiful urns from Emporium on Manchester. And every time I would drive by the shop, I'd check them out to make sure they were still there. You know how that goes. Anyway, after a lot of research and a lot of back and forth, I brought them home this past weekend. They look great. I love the natural rustic look, and I'll be sure to share a photo in the show notes so you can tell me what you think. And now a word from our sponsors. This year, the Pulitzer celebrates its 25th anniversary with a special exhibition organized by its founder and board chair, Emily Rao Pulitzer. Dialogues and Conversations features work by more than 35 artists with 85 sculptures, drawings, paintings, prints, and photographs spanning the late 19th century to today. The exhibition is open through August 9th, 2026. Plan your visit at pulitzerarts.org. And now onto our interview with Derek. Derek, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you. I want to start by sort of setting the stage a little bit. I know that you recently taught a class on gardening for fragrance. What drew you to that topic?
What drew me to that topic is working in the industry as long as I have and watch people choose plants for certain reasons. I think fragrance is something that is missed, but there's also a sentimental value too. Those are the two main reasons.
Okay. Okay. And did you have a good turnout?
It really depends. So the class that we held, surprisingly, we didn't get anyone that signed up.
Is so well, see,
It
this is why we're
is.
doing the podcast to
Uh-huh.
draw more attention to it.
But historically, it has gained a lot of interest. It just,
Okay.
maybe it's the time of the year, but yes,
Okay.
we'll see what this does.
What do you think scent offers a garden space? What is it about scent that makes it an important element or layer to your garden?
Well, it's the one that I feel like triggers the most memory in people's minds. So whether people realize it or not, it's something that it triggers so many different things rather than just the visuals with their eyes that most people use when they're shopping for plants. It's also the one that actually might make a person leave their ordinary route. If you know what I mean, their ordinary route, which would be like from their car to their front door or to
Yeah.
their mailbox at their front door. It might actually cause someone to deviate from that route and actually immerse themselves in the nature of their garden.
How can people, figure out what scents they're attracted to in their garden? So, for example, is the perfume that you wear or the candles that you burn in your home, could those translate to the garden? Is that sort of how you should figure out what your taste is, or is there another way that you think is easier?
There is another way because what I come to realize is when you have those candles that smell like lilacs or different scents, you'll realize that once you actually go out and smell the actual thing, it just doesn't compare. So it might be a good starting point to figure out what kinds of scents that you like, because I will admit that everybody smells differently. So what might smell sweet to some might not to others, but it is a good starting point, but it's like way out there on the spectrum of trying it, I guess I would say. But the only way that you can really truly figure it out is to go out there and experience it and try different things. Flowers would be the first real step into it.
I guess that would mean visiting a nursery or maybe even a botanical garden and like smelling the actual flower,
Yes, going out and trying it. So
trying it.
if
Okay.
I can give a quick example,
Yeah.
peonies is one that a lot of people remember being fragrant. It is
Yes.
often sold for its fragrance, but every color flower smells different than each other. And some of them actually don't smell nice. You
Oh,
try.
okay.
That's what I mean. You have to try it. So it's always a surprise.
Is there a particular color peony that you think doesn't smell as attractive as one would think?
Yes. So some of the whites and some of the reds or the maroons
Okay.
tend to smell less nice, and the pinks tend to smell more sweet and what you would picture as a peony would smell.
Where in the garden would one create like the most impact if you're going for scent?
So I feel like it's going to be near a front door because it is one that will immediately you'll notice it when it's producing that fragrance. So I like to put, for example, a rose at my back door because I'll get that smell right there, and that will start the transition of me leaving the ordinary path and out into the garden.
So we have containers, but then how about actually in the garden?
You can really place anywhere, so the plants that are more highly fragrant, like lilacs, could go further into the backyard because the scent from those will actually travel a long distance. But I still recommend putting a touch near a window so you could open the window and it could go in the window that way inside the home if you wanted to enjoy that inside, or near a door just so it'll get that interest. And also it'll get other people interested in wondering what that is.
And what makes scent travel? Is it breeze? I mean, what is it?
A lot of it is breeze, but a scent will naturally just proliferate the space. But a nice light breeze is perfect for making those scents travel even more and further.
Okay. Okay. And then how about in terms of layering scents in the garden? Obviously, maybe you're not going to create one container of all one species. Is layering a good way to bring out the scent in your flowers?
Well, a lot of the flowers that produce scent bloom at different times of the year. So it's hard to get the mixing of scents unless we're talking about leaves.
Oh, okay.
So like
Tell me
example,
more about that.
so for a container, I was thinking about these last night. Eucalyptus is a wonderful scented plant that you can grow in your containers that I really like to put my hands on there and rub the leaves and smell. It's just wonderful and very earthy is the best way I can describe it. But there's also pineapple sage, and I have a list here. There's a new begonia out called Angelique that smells kind of like Fruit Loops.
Oh my God.
So that's really nice. Stephanotis was one last year that we had at the garden center, and we had it right at the front counter, and people were just asking about that all day long
Oh,
and
okay.
wanting that just for that scent of those flowers. And the last one I added was stock, which is a really nice, it's more of a spring bloomer, but it smells amazing in those containers.
I know that some flowers emanate their scent in the evening.
Yes, they do.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I have a list for that too. So there's a few flowers that bloom day and night, but their scent only comes out at night. Plants produce scent, obviously not for people, but for the insects that pollinate them.
Hmm.
And so those plants bloom at night to get moths and other insects that would be out at night. So the ones that come to mind, moonflower, night blooming jasmine, and another plant called Nicotiana.
Okay.
Is three that will have mostly scent at night. And I've tested Nicotiana. It's really true. They smell only after dark. So in the evening and after dark.
Where's a good place to plant a flower or a shrub that blooms in the evening in order to really get the impact of its fragrance?
For that, it's going to be nearest to the doors and the windows that you could open in the evening on those cooler evenings,
Okay.
because nobody really wants to go out in the dark yard way out at that point to go enjoy that. So deck, back patio, near a window, all those places.
Okay. And then obviously, trees and shrubs also offer fragrance.
Yes.
I mean, I think we typically think about flowers, obviously, but what can you tell us about trees in particular or shrubs that create a really beautiful scent?
With flowers, there's a lot. And so something like a crabapple is going to smell amazing. You'll even be able to smell that from a distance. Roses are an obvious one that's really super easy to think about. Service berries are going to have a nice scent. Lilacs are famous for their scents. And remember, each color smells different.
Okay.
And then there's also different types of lilacs. There's the old-fashioned lilac, and the newer ones like Miss Kim or Dwarf Korean. Those will smell different from each other as well.
It sounds like it's really important to do research, right? And actually get into a nursery or a botanical garden to really, understand the scent and really get a sense of what a particular flower or tree smells like. If we're in a nursery, for example, what would be some of the first steps for someone who's interested in bringing fragrance into the home?
I would probably start back at home with some research, because
Okay.
there are articles out there that at least help you, guide you along in starting. And then from that point, you'll go into the nursery and you can probably ask a staff member at some of the local garden centers would know about those. Other than that, it's just trying it and see how the scent is on them. There's not, like I said, there's not really a guidance. There's not really a big sign, or it's not something that's often advertised. It is sometimes mentioned on the tags, though,
Okay.
that it will say this is a great plant for fragrance. So that would be another way that you can find out how they smell.
Yeah, I would think that nurseries would want to advertise, right? The fragrance of a particular flower. So maybe this podcast will encourage people to do that.
Hopefully it does, because it's a big missed opportunity in there, one that I enjoy a lot.
Yes. And I know you are a gardener as well in your
Yes.
own home. Tell us a little bit about your what you do on your blog.
So my blog is called Derek Dino Garden Guy, and I have a garden that encompasses everything that you already know about plants, fragrance, native plants, flowers. but it also has like 20 dinosaur sculptures throughout the garden.
Okay. And why dinosaurs?
Well, a lot of people ask that question like, oh, there's got to be you have to have liked them since a young child. And it's really not true. It's really a simple matter of I was in a shop one day and saw a little colorful metal one and really didn't think anything of it. I actually left without getting it. And then the next night I went over because I decided I needed to have it. And I started with that one. And then after that, I realized, besides the fact that they're cool, it really helped me stand out. So from there, it just kind of get, 2 and 3 and 4, and it just progressed from that
Oh my
point.
gosh. So it's a big attraction, I'm sure.
Yes,
Around.
a lot of neighborhood kids like to walk and enjoy it with their parents, and I've even gone and hide one in the summertime that I move around and they find it, and it's become a game for the kids for sure.
I'm sure it makes gardening even more interesting,
It
correct?
does.
Yeah.
It does because they're definitely noticing the plants through that too.
Yes,
For
yes.
sure.
Was there a time in history, looking back, where fragrance in the garden was a more important layer for people to add?
Yeah, I would say, Victorian times
Mhm.
and that era, fragrance was really, really important. And that's actually a lot of the reason why the older neighborhoods have a lot of peonies and lilacs, those two specific plants. And then the only reason why that's moved into today's world, I'll call it, is usually through memory about people who remember going to their grandma or their moms or some family members and experiencing that. And that is sort of keeping it, it's barely alive, but it's keeping it alive among the newer developments that are going in
Well,
today.
that at some point we can bring that fragrance into the home as well, right? Like, do you suggest clipping a branch of lilac, for example, and bringing it into the home as a bouquet or anything like that?
Yeah, I do recommend that because then you're actually getting the full experience of it. It may seem kind of sad to cut the flowers that
Hmm.
you've enjoyed and grown, but this year's cold snap, that lovely cold snap that we had like a week and a half ago, um, actually taught me that it is really important because I lost some of the color outside, but I enjoyed it even more being inside because it was so accessible for me to have right next to my kitchen sink is where I put it. And it was really easy for me to stop and enjoy that part of the garden, even though it was inside the house.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was really, really fun. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
This episode of House of Lou is supported by the Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park. The Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park, a Wright-designed residence, is now a house museum located in Kirkwood. Tours of this remarkable property are available by booking online at ebsworthpark.org. With this being a milestone anniversary year, 75 years since groundbreaking and 25 years as a public site, and the completion of a major preservation project featuring a new roof reflecting Wright's original design. You'll want to put this onto your must-visit list. The Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park is also hosting their free annual lecture at the St. Louis Art Museum on Sunday, May 3rd. To get your free ticket, go to the events page at ebsworthpark.org. And now onto these views. All I want to do this time of year is spend time outdoors. Here are 3 nature-themed activities to get onto your calendar this month. The Missouri Botanical Garden and St. Louis County Library welcomes biologist and Pulitzer Prize nominated nature writer David George Haskell on April 7th. Haskell will discuss his new book, How Flowers Made Our World, the story of nature's revolutionaries. Haskell's book explores the role flowers played in creating our world and the lessons we can all learn from them on resilience and creativity in the face of environmental change. The National Building Arts Center in Sauget, Illinois, houses the country's largest collection of architectural artifacts. The public can tour the campus, which features highlights from the collection, including selected architectural artifacts from St. Louis, Chicago, and New York. Walking tours are available every second Saturday of the month and last for approximately 1.5 hours. Book a 2-hour trolley tour on April 11th to explore Missouri's first ArbNet Level 3 accredited arboretum at Bell Fountain Cemetery. The spring trolley tour focuses on current blooms in the collection of 10,000 trees and shrubs, representing nearly 600 distinct species, selections, and varieties. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to House of Lou. Our episodes drop once a month. Be sure to follow us and share the episode with your friends. Be in touch. Subscribe to our design and home newsletter at stlmag.com/newsletters and follow along on Instagram at stlewismag. And you can follow me, BT Lookbook. If you like what you've heard, show us some love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you choose to listen. We'll see you next time, and just remember, there's so much to see in St. Louis if you know where to look. This is a production of St. Louis Magazine, produced by Kylie Green Lemoyne, edited and booked by Veronica Theodoro, audio and video editing by Henry Cohen.